Hello, hello, hello. Good to see you again. Now, we're at the stage in the course now where we need to start thinking about what it's going to be like beyond the course. How are we going to achieve the things that we've achieved on the course after the course? Now, of course, you can keep practicing all the techniques, all the things that you've learnt, and you've probably found by now which ones really work for you, and it's not going to be the same for everyone. So find the ones that work for you best, or even the two or three that you like the best, so you can rotate and try different things on different days, and just keep on at it, keep practicing it. Have it in the back pocket ready for that day when you're feeling more stressed than usual, more anxious, because we get daily stresses, we get daily anxiety, and that's normal. As you know by now, that's perfectly normal. But on some days it's a bit overwhelming, and that's when we need to go straight back into our back pocket, that technique that you've learnt, that you've practiced, that you can just pull out whenever you need it and bring your stress and anxiety right down. So we're looking today on how to be consistent. Now, consistency is a great characteristic to build and implement in your life. The key to consistency is setting easy and achievable specific goals. Now, we've talked about SMART targets in the past. So of course you can revisit that anytime you like. It's always going to be in the worksheets for you. So we need to make sure we've got these goals set, and sometimes we on a regular basis we need to revisit our goals. They might change. Our goals might completely change. All right, so don't be scared to keep revisiting. If you start feeling a bit disorientated with what's going on in your life, just go and revisit your goal setting. Make sure you've got goals in life that you can keep yourself motivated with, and of course hold yourself accountable. So we need to create those specific realistic goals, and just go and revisit the SMART targets bit, listen to the podcast again, get all the information, make notes, whatever you need to do. And it's good to be consistent in revisiting these things, because we do forget. If we don't need to practice them for a while, we sort of get a little bit off track, and we just need to go back to basics, have a bit of revision. I do it all the time with all the stuff that I do with work. I sometimes have to just take myself back to the basics. How did I first learn how to do this, so that I can enhance what I've already developed, and whatever through experience, what I've advanced in. So it's good every now and then just to bring yourself back to the basics. So remember, though, of course, you may need to recreate your schedule for your life. Okay, go back to the planning. Makes sense. And it's very easy. We plan, and then we start being able to do it in our head, because we don't need to write it down, because not every day is the same, but a lot of the days are the same. And on a weekly basis, if you get used to doing it, then even over a whole month, you might not need to actually write it down. You know what that next day is going to be and how your routine is going to go. But of course, we get external factors that can completely throw us sideways, but we shouldn't need to worry about that. But if we've got a plan written down, it's something we can refer to. It makes it clearer. So you may go down the track a little while and stop writing out your plan, and then further down the track you start losing your place. And that's where you just need to go back and revisit, go back to what works, writing out your plan, whatever format you use, whatever app you want to use, find what works for you, and just keep going back to it. Keep going back to the basics, and that will help you with your consistency. Something else we need to remember, though, of course, is with any kind of planning, is to make sure that we plan breaks. Now, that could be a whole day. It could be just a 15-minute break, whatever it is, but do make sure you take your breaks. All right. Now, when it comes to our goals, we need to sometimes have those reminders for ourselves. Now, there's loads of apps that we can use in calendars and things like that, where we can set a time just to have something pop up into your phone and remind you about something. So it's great for putting a goal in, what your goal is, what you're trying to achieve, what your end game is. And you can have that pop up on a weekly basis in your calendar just to remind you. It's a great way of doing it. It's so easy to just forget what your goal is and just keep committing to the work and lose focus on what the goal is. So do keep reminding yourself what your goals are. And we could do other things with that. You can go right back to basic and use post-it notes. Post things on your fridge door, your cupboard door, your TV, places that you're going to look at on a regular basis. Your mirror in your bathroom where you brush your teeth. So it's there as soon as you get up in the morning, last thing at night before you go to bed. And it's just going to remind you of what your goal is and keep you focused on what you're trying to achieve. You can even do more subversive things for yourself, where you can write a post-it note, write your goal on it, put it in your wallet or purse so that you find it weeks later. Put it in a jacket that you only wear to certain occasions or something. Put it in a purse that you only wear when you go out with your friends, whatever it is. And you'll find it, and it just gives you a reminder, keeps you on track. And it's nice when you suddenly find that note and you're like, oh yeah, I remember writing that. Yeah, that's still my goal. And if it's not your goal, you got to go and revisit what your goals are and do it all over again. But that's not a problem. We should never be scared to do that. Goals do change. Okay. And like I said as well, you can use apps, you can put alarms on your phone, whatever it is, just to remind you of what your goals are. But you also need to make sure that if you're going to make a promise to achieve a goal, you need to make sure it's one that you can keep. And of course, again, you're going to set that goal using your SMART target so it's achievable. Okay. And what you must remember, of course, though, if you do achieve a goal, in which you've broken it down into little bite-sized pieces, chunks that are easily achievable, don't forget to reward yourself. And of course, if you're trying to lose weight, don't reward yourself with food, all right? But you can reward yourself in other ways. You can reward yourself with doing something for yourself, whatever it is, whatever you like doing, making time to go out and go mountain biking, go running, go for a walk with the dog, whatever it is, reward yourself with that. I've done well, I've got this done now. I'm going to go and do what I like doing for 15, 20 minutes, an hour. It could be a whole day thing you decide to reward yourself with. Nothing wrong with that either. Okay. And one of the things that can really break down our consistency and really get in our way and cause a bit of a roadblock is if we make a mistake. Okay. I see it a lot with people who are trying to lose weight and they suddenly have a bad meal and they go, oh, well, I'm going to start again on Monday, but it's only Thursday. So you've got Friday, Saturday, Sunday where you're just going to eat bad food because you're going to start dieting again on Monday. Whereas you maybe should be looking at the next meal is where I'm going to start my next, achievable goal. So if we make a mistake, we shouldn't feel guilty. Life gets in the way, external factors, all the rest of it. There's nothing we can do about it. It doesn't matter how much you plan. Life is going to get in the way. And a great saying we used to have in the military is no plan survives first contact. And that's first contact with the enemy. All right. As soon as the bullets start flying, your plan goes out the window and you've got to deal with the situation in hand. So, and it's the same with life. Bullets get thrown at you. Spanners get thrown in the works, whatever terminology you want to use. And we should never feel that that setback has stopped us achieving our goal. All it's done is set us back, nothing else. Now, if you want to be consistent, you just got to revise your plan for the next day, whenever, to get yourself back on track. And just being a day behind is nothing to worry about. You're still going to achieve your end goal in the end. So don't worry about it. Don't feel guilty. Just because something's got in the way and you've not been able to do what you want to do that day, whatever it is, just reset. Start the clock again tomorrow, whatever. Next mealtime, that evening, that afternoon, whatever. You don't have to wait that long to restart your clock. You just need to wait for the complications to get out of the way. So don't feel guilty if things go wrong. Don't feel guilty if you make a mistake. And don't feel guilty if you get off track through external circumstances. It's life. And that's where we need to learn how to deal with these things. And it might be that you just take yourself off and do some meditation. Get yourself reset, get some clarity in your mind, and start again, whatever it takes. And then, of course, revisit your goals, remind yourself of why you're doing everything, and use all those things to encourage you to keep going. Now, one thing we should make sure we do is take time off to recharge. Now, I've got a personal saying, which I think I've created just for myself, and I call it productive procrastination. Okay. And it's sometimes I've got a big task to do and I don't want to start it straight away because I need to plan in my mind. I need to work out, let it all sink in and just let all the dust settle rather than just jumping in with 2 feet. Okay, don't want to be going like a bull in a china shop, because it's going to make more work for myself in the long run. So sometimes I just need to forget about it as such and go off and do other things. And funnily enough, that thing in the back of my mind is still thinking about this task I've got to do. And suddenly I could be out on a bike ride, out walking the dog, doing some other kind of work, listening to an audio, whatever it is, and all of a sudden an idea will pop into my head. Oh, that would be a good idea to help me achieve this next task, and I'll write it down. I'll make a note somewhere in my phone, whatever it is. So I've got a record of what note or whatever information I've suddenly gleaned through my productive procrastination. And we shouldn't be scared to do this. A lot of people think procrastination is a bad thing, but in the right circumstances, it's an amazing tool that we have. And as long as you're not focused on it, then the ideas will come in the background. You get into that creative flow without even realizing it. And it's a great way to be. So we should never feel guilty about things going wrong, and taking that time off for just letting the dust settle and give ourselves time to just reset, think about things in the background, so that we can actually be more productive in the long run. All right, and that's what we're going to look at. That productive procrastination is going to make you more productive in the long run, because you've had time for everything to settle. You've had time to think things through without actually focusing on it too hard. It takes very little energy to do that. And you know what it's like when you've forgotten a name of a film, a name of an actor or something, and you go, I'll text you later. I'll phone you at 2 o'clock in the morning when it pops in my head. Because when you're not thinking about it, suddenly your subconscious pulls it out for you. And that's exactly what can happen with the productive procrastination. I should have made an easier saying, because that's quite hard to get your tongue around sometimes. But we should make sure that we do take time out when we need it. Okay. So we can use all sorts of motivational tools to keep ourselves going and keep ourselves on track. You'll notice that the coach accountable system is something that holds you accountable, hence its name. And that's what the anxiety and stress breakthrough system is built into. And you get reminders, you let it know when you're running behind, and it just gives you the opportunity to keep focused, keep you on track, keep you going. And of course, you're on certain days and you get gaps and breaks in the course, you can catch up. But you should never get too stressed about it. All right. What's the point? You don't need to. It's always going to be sat there waiting for you. But as long as you know that you've got stuff waiting to do, you can go and revisit it when you've got the time and keep going. Okay, never get too stressed about doing the course. But we must realize that when we're tired and stressed, it's very easy to just let our goals slide for a day, or even 2 days, or even a week. Okay, and it's very hard then to get back on track. So by getting the reminders, setting reminders on your phone, things to do lists that I've had one sat in my inbox for about a week, and I keep resetting it to remind me the next day. Not going to do it today, I'm going to do it tomorrow. And for about a week, I just kept on resetting it. Going to do it the next day. And eventually I got fed up with seeing this pop up and me resetting it. I just got on with the task. And sometimes we need that. We need those constant reminders. We need to just keep prodding ourselves to give us the motivation that we need. And of course, we can find all different ways of motivation. You can have someone in your life that can hold you accountable. If you want to do more exercise, for example, to help with your anxiety and stress, the great thing is to have a training partner. And if you're going to meet somewhere and do something, if you've got the equipment, if you've got to pick them up, if you've got to take them, if you're going to meet them at a certain place and time, then you've got to be there. You can't sort of back out then. You've committed yourself. And so you've put yourself in a situation where the motivation is there all the time, because you don't want to let people down. So you turn up, even if you don't feel like it. And that's the great thing about having a training partner in anything that we do. It doesn't have to be necessarily exercise. It could be, just life partners for whatever reason to help you through life. But if I say to a friend who I know is having a little bit of a struggle, and I tell him I'm going to call him a certain time tomorrow night, I'm going to call him, because I don't want to let him down. If he's had a bad day again, I want to be there for him. I want to make sure that he knows I'm going to be there. He knows I'm going to turn up. So we can find all different ways of motivating ourselves through those difficult times. Okay, and we need to have these little tools in our back pocket again, so that we can pull it out. It could just be that motivational bit of paper. It could be going back to doing the things that make you feel grateful, whatever it is, so that you can bring yourself back on track and still achieve your goals. Okay. Now, anything that we do when we're trying to change ourselves physically or mentally takes time. There are certain instances when things happen instantly, of course, but a lot of the time we don't notice the changes straight away because they're subtle. They change a little bit at a time. So we sometimes need to remind ourselves that we need to be patient. Easier said than done, I know. But if we know that we need to be patient over something, we know that when we first start the anxiety and stress breakthrough system, it's not going to just click your fingers and all your anxiety and stress is going to go away. It's designed to gradually change the way your mindset works and everything else. And that's the same with a lot of things in life. We have to change slowly. We have to accept the change. So we need to be patient. But of course, we can reevaluate ourselves at any time in the future. And we might want to decide to set ourselves a timeline where we're going to check ourselves every 2 weeks. As with the system where we have a weekly checklist where we just check how we're feeling, etc. So we can keep an eye on it. Don't do it every day. Okay, we do it periodically so that we can see how we're feeling, and we can do that with all sorts of different tasks in our lives. So we need to be able to assess our changes and be patient about them at the same time. So if it's going to be something that's going to take a while to change, then you might decide to, reevaluate it every fortnight. And you might want to just put a reminder in your calendar, in your phone. You need to revisit this goal, whatever it is, so that you can see what's going on and change things as you need to. Because again, outside influences might have got in the way and things have changed. So we can just revisit it all the time. We should never be We should never be too scared of those kind of challenges that we get in life, and we should see them as challenges. Have that mindset of overcoming problems rather than focusing on the problem. That growth mindset is always a good thing to have. So we just need to make sure that we are patient and reevaluate it periodically, and remind ourselves if we need to when we need to reevaluate it. Okay. Now, here's going to be one for a lot of you out there. We need to set boundaries. Okay. If you take on too much, you're going to fail, whatever it is you're doing. And the thing is, you're going to end up failing in everything, not just the one task that you're trying to achieve. If you take on too much, you're not going to have the energy, the time, the enthusiasm, whatever it is, the commitment. Okay. You've got to be careful of how much you take on. Better to do one job really well for somebody than to do 5 jobs at a mediocre standard. Okay. Now we can break that down into all sorts of aspects of our lives. We have, family commitments. Okay. Do we want to be tired and exhausted all the time when we've got to spend time with our family, our children, whoever? The answer is no, of course we don't. We want to be able to have some quality time with them at the end of the day, on the weekend, whenever. So if you're doing too much and you're tired and exhausted, you're not going to have quality time for your family. And you could say that about all different aspects of your life, your job, whatever, your friends, family, everything. So learn to say no. Work out and realize and accept that we all have limits to how much energy we have, how much time we have, and how much effort we can put into things. So reevaluate how much you're taking on. If you're tired and exhausted all week long, you're doing too much. And it probably means that you need to say no to somebody. But what you got to remember, though, is if you balance everything carefully so that you've got the energy to do everything well that you've got on your plate, and it's nice and balanced, it's nice and systematic, it's nice and well organized, then you're going to do a good job for everyone. So this is where part of your planning can come in how much time you spend with your family, how much time you spend working, how much commitment you have to your friends, etc., etc. And just really break it down, set those boundaries, set that limits that you have, and try not to cross it. We will cross it from time to time because, again, outside influences, outside problems come in. And we just need to roll with it and get back on track as soon as you can. So learn to say no. Now, building your willpower. Consistency requires willpower to achieve. It's as simple as that. Okay. The great thing about consistency, though, it leans towards performance. Okay. So if you're consistent, your performance is going to increase. And whether that's in your life, your family, your work, whatever, if you get consistency with it, it's going to improve. It's as simple and basic as that. So we need to make sure that we can achieve our consistency. Things to avoid, though, whenever possible, is exhaustion. Other things to avoid is temptation. If you know a particular situation is going to make you worse, then avoid it. Okay. If you've got to do it, then obviously you've got to make plans to do it and have the tools in place to mitigate as much of the problem as possible. But remind yourself of your long-term benefits. Whenever you're feeling unmotivated, read over your list of goals, revisit your goal list, revamp your inspiration, whatever you need to do to get yourself a good kick up the arse and keep going. Okay, so build your willpower. Okay, you need to have that willpower going in the background. Keep focusing on your goal. Your goal will always give you willpower. So keep revisiting it if you need to. Something we've mentioned and talked about in the past is negative thinking. Okay, make sure you recognize when you're starting to think negatively, because when you think negatively, it's just an excuse for failure. Okay, you've got this voice in the back of your mind that just gives you excuses for why you're going to fail. So recognize when you're getting that negative voice in your head and turn it around, talk to it, ask it questions, put it straight, give it a slap, whatever you need to do, get that chimp brain back in its cage. All right, so make sure you do recognize when those negative thoughts are starting to get in the way. So pay attention to them, pay attention to the patterns that occur with them, certain situations that start or trigger the negative thinking, and just give it a kick up the arse and kick it into touch, whatever you need to do to turn that around. Start thinking more positively. Remember to ask the right questions of yourself, not why is this always happening to me, but what can I do about this? Or if you're going to ask why has this happened and how can I make sure it doesn't happen again? Whatever it is you need to do, make sure you have a critical thinking question in your head rather than just an emotive question like, why does this always happen to me? And once you get that nailed down, your brain, your positive thinking will just start to happen naturally. So we want to really make sure we recognize negative thoughts when they come so that we can kick them into touch, turn it around to our advantage so that we can keep consistently moving forward. Well, consistency, it's a strange one, but as long as you can break it down and get all this information out of it that's going to be applied for you, then you can implement all the different tasks in there, all the different priorities in there as and when you need to. Consistency over time is easy. It becomes part of your everyday routine. It becomes part of you. You notice when you don't do it and you feel like you've missed something rather than making it a hard job that you've got to do it. Okay. And good luck with it. That's all I can say now is good luck with it. You've got loads of tools in your back pocket now. Keep practicing all the different things. Keep going at it. And don't forget that if you're starting to get off track, just revisit it. You can jump back into this program anytime you like. You've bought the program. It's yours. So you can revisit it anytime you like. And if you've paid for it once and you want to start it again, just let me know. If you want to revisit something and you want me to send you back to it, then please just get in touch with me, email me, whatever you need to do. There's nothing wrong with that at all. You've paid for this course. It is now yours to keep forever. Okay. Use it, abuse it, take advantage of it, make your life better with it because that's what it's there for. Okay. So this should hopefully give you a picture of what your life is going to be like in the future. Life is going to get in the way. Influences, outside actions, you just can't stop these things from happening, but having the tools in your back pocket ready to deal with these things is great advantage for you. You know, anxiety and stress on a daily basis is normal. Certain level of it is fine, but when it starts to get overpowering, then you can pull out that thing in your back pocket and just use it to get yourself back on track and feeling good again. Okay, and that's what this is all about. It's not necessarily having a life completely free from anxiety and stress or never having overwhelming anxiety and stress again. It's knowing how to deal with it. It's knowing that, and it gives you this confidence. If you know you've got tools that have helped you in the past, then whenever anything pops up again in the future, you know what to do to deal with it. So it's going to give you that inner confidence that you've never had before. Confidence to deal with any situation in life, whatever it is. And it's a fantastic thing to have, that feeling, knowing that whatever happens, you've got a tool for the job. And even if you haven't, you can just go and meditate on it, make yourself feel better. lower down that stress levels, lower that cortisol levels down, calm your mind, give yourself a bit of clarity. Okay, well, consistency. You've got everything now for your future. You've got everything that's going to help you with all your anxiety and stress in the future. So take it, use it, watch this again if you need to, knowing that you've got all the tools you need and you can just carry on for the rest of your life, just using the tools as and when you need to. And that's what life's all about. Using the tools for each job whenever you need to. Having the correct tool for the right job. Always going to be there for you. Okay. Well, I hope you enjoyed this. This is not the end of the course. We've still got a few more things to cover yet. But this consistency is a great point in the course where you start feeling like you've done everything you need to do. And it's very easy now to sort of drift off track. So please just keep revisiting the different things like the planning, SMART goals, everything else that you need to just revisit, just to remind yourself, keep yourself on track, keep that inspiration going, that motivation that you need. And I know for sure that you're going to do it because you've got it. You've got this far. You're going to get the rest of the way. The rest of it starts to get so much easier. All right. Okay. Well, you take care and I will see you all again soon. Bye.